further ado, going to hand over to lovely Sophie, who kindly offered to host our skills sesh tonight. So over to you, Sophie.
Hopefully I won't bore you all too much, because I'm literally trained out for the last few days. Okay, so I know you've done loads of stuff on acronyms, DMOs, MTOs. You've got O's on your O's at the moment. I think there's so much O's going on. So I thought there'd be a new one I'd introduce to you, which is called GROW. I don't know if anyone's come across that before in your training.
No.
What does anyone think GROW might stand for?
Polite.
I'm so rubbish at stuff like this.
It took me ages to work out MTO the other week. I was like, oh, we've done that loads, but you just couldn't get my head around it. So GROW stands for goals, reality, options, and willingness. So there's a new one. So the goal side of it is always thinking about what is your goal. So kind of relating this to UW is thinking about an activity more than anything. So thinking about, is it neighbour letters? Is it WAMs? Is it networking? Whatever it is your like main activity. So that's your goal. What is my goal? What am I trying to achieve? Is it to sign up a customer? Is it to sign up a partner? How am I going to get there? And one of the ways to put this into practice is thinking about, on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you of achieving this goal? Because I hate WAMs. I have to admit that. I hate WAMs. I don't like them. And you know, the reason I thought, when I was trying to do this earlier, and I thought, I'll do this myself to see how it works out, on a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably like half, because I hate getting cold. So I don't mind WAMs in the summer. I just don't like being cold. And that is my big... So when you come on to the reality side of it, is what's worked and not worked. I don't like doing WAMs in December. That's probably what put me off doing the range in Folkestone when I froze my arse off. I think, Welly, you were there with me on that one, and it was literally kind of put me off forever. So really thinking about the reality, what's worked, what's not worked, what factors may impact you on reaching your goal. So really trying to think about that reality. If it's December and you hate it, are you going to realistically go and do it? Are you going to get something out of it? Or are you better off joining an online networking meeting and doing something that you enjoy? Because you're just never going to do it. And I'm in your DMO group that a lot of you in, but haven't spoke yet or filled out any little squares or anything. But looking at what people struggle with are usually the things that we hate. And you kind of think, oh, why do you put yourself through that pain? And I know, Hannah, WAM's not your bag, are they? They've never been your bag.
No, terrify me.
But some people love them. And that's just the way it works. Some people love them, some people don't. So never try and put something on your goal that you absolutely hate. So also, what might be the impact if you thought about considering other options? So really looking at those other options. So covering options, what do you enjoy the most? And that's where it's at. I mean, for me, one of the biggest things that I loved was BNI. Absolutely loved BNI. And I think John has been a big highlighter for this, because John was struggling. And I was doing the message blaster with him, buddied up with him a few times, and he joined BNI, and he's literally gone, yeah, do you know what? I love it. I absolutely love it. And he really, really enjoys it. So if you are kind of hanging around in that park that you hate, you don't have to. That's kind of where I'm putting it out there to say, do you know what? If you hate it, find something else. Because it's never, ever. And I know we have to get out of our comfort zone sometimes, but sometimes getting out of that comfort zone just sends us 100 miles the other direction, and we just end up doing nothing. So it really just doesn't work. So that kind of thinking about GROW, the acronym, if I'm doing something that's not going to make me grow because I hate it, we need to look. So what are the alternatives? Rate them 1 to 10. You can either do 1 to 10, or you can do kind of a traffic light system. Traffic light system works better for some people. Trying to think of, right, let's put it red, amber, or green. If you put red for WAMs and amber for neighbour letters and green for networking, you kind of answered your own question, haven't you? So if we can think about where we put those levels of activity and what we love doing, we can put them in a rating system, either 1 to 10, either so the traffic lights, to try and work out. And if you need help. So like the willingness, what are your obstacles? Do you need help? Do you need someone to buddy up with? It's always been the thing we talk about. If you hate it, is it because you hate doing it on your own? Because I've never ever done neighbour letters in 5 years. Anyone else in that bag? Anyone never done a neighbour letter? Or is it just me? Am I literally on my own now?
No, Louise.
Thank you for being honest, Louise. So do you all love them?
It terrifies me.
I hate them.
I hate them. I absolutely hate them.
The thought of it makes me feel quite sick. Actually, like I think I could go and vomit now at the thought of. And do you know what? I could talk to anyone. I could talk the hind legs off a donkey, sell sand to the Arabs. Literally don't care who I talk to, as you all know, because I talk too much. But the thought of knocking on someone's door makes me feel physically sick.
Yeah, same here.
But if someone said, come on, let's go and do it together, I would probably do it. And it is that thing about that buddying up really, really works. And I remember Alex a couple of years ago, I think buddying up with you, Hannah, and you went out. I read Deb Glover's post just now. I don't know if anyone saw it in the neighbour letter group. Went out today and got 6 appointments doing like 26 doors. That on a ratio basis, that's literally like three knocks to 1 appointment. It's like, Jesus, her ratio is amazing. And she opened the post with apologising that she hadn't been doing anything for a few days, and then ended the post on, yeah, but I got 6 appointments. I was like, off the chart. Okay. So did anyone else read that and think, cow? Or did anyone else think, amazing?
I thought, good on her. She doesn't give a shit.
I thought I need to be more Debs.
Yeah, she just doesn't give a shit.
No, she doesn't. She gave me a massive talking to yesterday because I wouldn't go out the door. Is that what it is? She literally just doesn't care. She just goes for it. That's that's really ballsy though, isn't it?
Got massive balls.
100%. And her ratio, so when you look at the ratios, I've been kind of following people's ratios. This obviously comes from can't think of his name. What is his name? The Australian guy. Alan Pease, that's the one, thank you. So Alan Pease always talks about the ratios. That's his biggest thing. If you know you've got to knock on 100 doors to get 2 appointments, you know you're going to get 90, you've got to get 98 no's before you're going to get that 2 appointments. But her ratios are absolutely out of the park. But that's just because you get better, isn't it? And it's just that confidence thing. So really, really thinking about that GROW acronym and using it in this way, just highlighting what you're good at, highlighting what you're not good at, highlighting how you can use it, and always thinking the idea is to grow. You've got to grow. If it's neighbour letters that you hate and they're a red, maybe you need to buddy up to get them to an amber, to get them to a green. But you're not going to go from red to green overnight. It's just never going to happen. And I can remember going to my very first BNI meeting. Hannah set me up, stitch me up, not sure which one I'd use, but absolutely terrified live out of you. You've got to suddenly stand up and do a 1-minute presentation in front of a room of like suits that you're literally standing there thinking, oh my god. But I became the president of the BNI group because I loved it, absolutely loved it, and it was just, and that's where I got the majority of my customers. So yeah, playing in your own park is a really good thing. Okay, so moving on from that, so I want you to remember that little acronym. Moving on from that is more about time management, and I've been sending Hannah little pictures this week of all my training things and little graphs that we quite like, and one came up today about rocks, pebbles and sand. Have anyone come across that before? No? I'm glad it wasn't just me, because I'd never seen it before. And Hannah was like, oh, my dad did that at my wedding. I was like, really?
Yeah, I know, which sounds weird then, doesn't it?
Yeah, it did sound a bit weird. I did.
Yeah. In context, it makes sense, but I thought I'm not going to distract you from work by telling you the story.
So what do we think about rocks, pebbles and sand? Where could this fit into time management and kind of into this whole area? What do we think it might mean? Come on, throw something at me.
Grace is on it.
Is it like you've got the stuff that you can't move around in your timetable, which are the rocks, that sort of thing, is it?
Yeah, pretty much. So
and then
rocks
can move a bit more.
Yeah, absolutely, Grace, thank you. If you think about the rocks, now I was, my analogy of the rocks is Stonehenge. If you think about Stonehenge, they're a bit hard to move, not really, and they're the things that are set in stone. Your rocks are like brushing your teeth. You're never going to not do it. They are things that you have to do every single day. So thinking about this with your business, what have you got? The problem with rocks is they take up a lot of room, they take up a lot of space, which kind of, they take up a lot of time. So if you've got something like, if you imagine it again, relating it back to UW, if you're thinking, right, I'm going to book a WAM, I'm going to do 50 neighbour letters, I'm going to do my B&I group, I'm also going to cook dinner, stick a broom up my backside and sweep up at the same time. I mean, cooking dinner for me is Stonehenge times 10. I hate cooking dinner. So I literally sent Hannah a message just now, cooked dinner and cleared up, winning at life. That is like Stonehenge done. But if you've got too many of those things going on, you're never going to fit everything else in. So moving on from the rocks, you've got the pebbles. This is a bit like Hive Beach. So if you go down Hive Beach with no shoes on, pebbles are things that you do have to do. They are quite important. So again, they're like doing the washing, checking up on customer stuff going live. If you think about things like that, they're the things that I hate. You know, when you log into the portal and you've got someone's gone red and you're like, oh, for God's sake, someone's cancelled, and you're like, oh, really? I just got customer number 56 and customer number 54 is cancelled. And you know, those bits and pieces are really, really important, but you just don't really like doing them. And then in between that, you've got the sand. So sand is things we quite like. So sand's a bit like the Seychelles with a cocktail in your hand. Anyone want that one? So trying to think back to your UW analogy and that grow analogy, putting those back into place, what activities are rocks? What takes you the most time because you just can't get out the door? It reminds me of Simon's post the other day, which I thought was great. When he went out and really didn't want to go out, and he was like, I'm not doing it. I'm going to do this instead, and I'm going to do that instead. And that really, really kind of, I think, Simon, for you, you just didn't want to go, did you?
I did not want to go. Especially when I got a a really miserable no part way through. And someone called to cancel, and I was like, I knew it. I should just go home. I should just go home.
Just don't want to play. So that was kind of that was a Stonehenge size rock getting out there that day. Who feels like doing, I don't know, think of an activity that you hate that's a Stonehenge type rock? Hannah, have you got a Stonehenge size rock?
Oh God, everything. I hate doing all of it. Picking up the phone. That is like the biggest, if it's picking up the phone to prospects, this is the biggest rock ever. That phone
takes up too much room.
Yeah.
And you'll find lots and lots of sand gets in the way.
Oh, everything. All of a sudden, I really, really want to organise Annie and I always joke, organise my Tupperware cupboard. I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to make calls. And she goes, how's your Tupperware cupboard looking? And I'm like in there, putting it all in size order and making sure 100%. The lids match.
That's actually on my list for Easter holiday job.
Sort the Tupperware. Is that before picking up the phone, doing a neighbour letter and booking in for a WAM?
Obviously.
Yeah.
So those are the things that really trying to put that analogies, the grow analogy and that analogy into place with those activities, trying to think, where are they? So as a little activity to finish this off on, kind of, you've got these things in your head now and just trying to think, right, that's what I hate, that's what needs to move, that's what needs to change. Really thinking about either doing the traffic light system with them or numbering them and just trying to see where you are and how they make you feel, seeing how big those rocks are, or whether you're doing lots of sand in the middle. So I want to get you to do a little activity. So if you grab a pen and paper, so I want you to write 888 across the top of the piece of paper.
Lovely.
I was hoping it. Do you know what? I thought this when you said about doing the training tonight. I was like, oh, it really reminds me of when you just joined, and I was like, there's a future company trainer. You've only been in for about a week.
Yeah, literally, I did this in on customer gathering masterclass at Tunbridge Wells.
Tunbridge Wells, isn't it? I remember it.
Yeah, so if you do 888 across the top of a piece of paper, who knows what that might mean? What does that symbolise?
Oh.
But how you split your day?
Absolutely. So what do 3/8 add up to, anyone?
27? It's a holiday, 24.
You won't trust him as your maths teacher, would you? Don't ask the teacher. Okay, so 3/8, 24 hours in a day. So I want you to have a look. So who sleeps for 8 hours a night?
Mostly.
Louise is like, "Do we
Minimum.
have much sleep?" Yeah, me too. I quite like 9, to be fair. So if you, most of us get around 8 hours. If you don't sleep for 8 hours and you only sleep for 4 or 6, then you can add another couple to another box. That's a bonus because you've got even more hours to play.
Yeah, stitch yourself up there. I know I sleep for a good 20 hours a day, Sophie.
If you only sleep, anyone only sleep for 4 or 6, or does Dulcie wake up in the night? How is she? Is she a sleeper?
Touch and go, often up at 5-ish. So, yeah,
That's
add
wrong.
that to our day.
That's wrong. That's definitely wrong. There's no reason to get up at that hour. There's only 5 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the day. So 8 hours sleep. Who works for 8 hours in the day job? Who's got a day job that they do, and you've got to put in kind of 8 hours in a day job? So mark those 2 out. We've got sleep and we've got work. Now in your remaining area that you've got your last 8 hours, now this may be different, and it will be different. And again, I've really noticed in the DMO group and obviously on the WhatsApp groups that people struggle at weekends. So if you do this differently, so Monday to Friday might be that block, and then you might be different from Saturday and Sunday. So if you're struggling on Saturday and Sunday, it's probably because this isn't, it just throws you off. So on a Saturday and Sunday, you could potentially have 8 hours sleep and 16 hours in that block, because you're like, well, what do I do with it?
Mhm.
So now I want you to literally write in your block, if you want to do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, because it's different every day for you, what do you do with it? What are you doing with those extra 8 hours?
Lots of sand jobs.
Is it sand? Is it rocks? Is it pebbles? What are we doing with it? It's 8 hours. It's a lot of hours. Who's got 2.5 hours of Facebook?
Easily.
Who's got 3 hours of Netflix? You've all gone quiet now. It's like, yeah, what are they filled with?
Eating.
7 hours of eating.
Yeah, see, I do intermittent fasting, so I can't even blame that one.
Oh, yeah, so you actually literally know how much you eat.
4 hours procrastinating.
Procrastinating.
Eating frogs, 100%.
Hiding toy cupboard, 6 hours.
Organising the Tupperware cupboard, 4 hours.
What do we do with those 8 hours? Is a really, really long time. It's a whole working day.
I've got 16 hours to fill. I literally don't know.
So the reason that I think this is one of the things that we come up with, so not necessarily just thinking about it for you, but this is a brilliant exercise to use with team members, because I learned this when I worked at the gym. Because the biggest thing you used to get with people coming in to do training or to join the gym, they used to come and say, right, I want to join. Yep, I'm up for it. I'm going to do this. And then you sit down with them and say, well, when are you going to come? When are you going to turn up? And we used to say to them, you have to like literally physically put it in your diary, otherwise you won't come. They're like, oh, no. And then they'd be, I don't know, a month down the line, not turning up, not coming in. And we'd ring them up and say, oh, I haven't got time. So we used to sit down and do this exercise with them. But the biggest, one of the biggest things we get with team members come up is say, well, I haven't got time. And how many times, literally can't count on fingers, toes and things, how many times I've said that to people. I can't do that, I haven't got time. We all have time.
It works really well with children, actually. I've done it with last term before lockdown. I did it when one of our projects was due in for homework, year 6. And I had so many people say I didn't have time. So I went, right, okay, what is 8, let's go. And I said, what does that add up to, guys? And it blew their minds. It genuinely blew their minds. That I said, you can even have 3 hours on the Xbox if you like, and 2 hours watching TV. And guess what? You can still get, and it just blew their minds, and it really opened up, and it did actually make them think. It's really useful for anybody.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, like you say, Simon, with kids, they get it. They suddenly go, oh,
Yeah, we need to see it like that. And if you get them in that habit early on, yeah.
So who's willing to share what you've filled in your 8 hours with, or your 16 hours? Who wants to share? Come on, man up.
Go on, Annie. What do you do your 8 hours, please? Uh-oh.
She's literally just popped out in the chat.
I was literally going to say, Zog's finished. I'm taking Dulcie to bed, so I am actually going to go. But I will do it, I promise, when I come down.
Just go man up to it. Someone's going to go, well, what do you do? Does that, how much? Night, Dulcie.
Yeah.
Night, Dulcie.
Oh, yeah. Good night, Dulcie.
Well, I'm happy to share my list, but I don't want to take over if somebody else must be brave. No.
Right.
Not Grace. Is she going? No, she's not. You doing it, Grace? Are you going to be brave?
I've only put down a few things. So I've put down cooking, eating, cleaning, reading, and then I've got phone and TV.
Yeah.
Oh, exercise.
I've got exercise. Yeah, I had the same. I've got housework, and they can add that on there, Grace. There's another excuse. Cleaning. You had cleaning. Eating, cooking, phone, reading, walking the dog.
Oh, yeah.
So where in that little thing do we get any growth? We're not getting the growth, and we're not getting the rocks, are we? We've got, as we said, a lot of sand going on.
A lot of sand. Because even I will sometimes go, oh yeah, but I'm doing personal development because I love it. So I could literally do I could read all day long. I just love it so much.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a certain amount of growth coming in, but it's not really like having a direct, it's not a rainmaker activity, is it, on my business?
No, it's not a Stonehenge. It's not gonna get you in that grow mindset. It's gonna help you, but it's not gonna help anything grow, is it? If you it's like trying to grow some cucumbers and plant some tomatoes. It's not it's not gonna happen.
I've still got 2 hours to use up.
So you've got 2 hours that you can't fill up.
Huh? That's with 2 hours TV if I wanted it as well.
It's literally a phone, isn't it? Added up. But I've got an alert on my phone now that tells me when I've been on Facebook for an hour.
Yeah, I've got that as well.
So I just dismiss it and then carry on.
Oh.
Yeah, really good. Works really well. I've even got it turns off. It goes grey. It goes black at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Stop me. I just turn it off.
So who's willing to commit at least one of those hours? And the strangest thing is, I had this conversation with Shelley, I had this conversation with Louise, I think with Grace and with Hannah, that for me, when I have more time, I'm less productive. 100%. I literally started my new job on Thursday, 9 o'clock Thursday morning, started my new job, and at 4:30 on Thursday, signed up a Daffy Gold homeowner. It's like, how ironic is that? I haven't done anything for like 3 weeks, just been no, can't be bothered. And then started my new job, worked all day, and then signed up a customer. I'm like, just cranky. And again, been working all day today and said, yeah, I'll do that tonight. I have no idea why that is. And
the time's more valuable, isn't it? The time is more valuable when it's being fitted in, I guess.
Yeah. And you can't put it off till tomorrow. That's the thing for me. I know I was much more productive when I was working because I had to get it done there. I didn't know what was going to happen tomorrow. So I had to whereas now, every night I've got all these things on my to-do list. Every night I just moved and asked it tomorrow. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. Until the point where whatever it is I've got to do, someone nags me and goes, "Have you done that thing?" I'm like, oh yeah.
I found your time blocking thing really helpful because I have so much to fit into a day. I mean, I have written my list, but there's so much that I have to fit into the day that I was like not achieving anything at all because I was like, oh my God, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, and I was getting so anxious and wound up about it that I'd spend more time stressing about all the stuff I had to do than actually doing. So the time blocking for me has been really good because I'm like, right, I've got 3 hours
blocked out to do that. I've got 3 hours blocked out to do UW. I've got half an hour dog training. I've got 45 minutes taekwondo. I've got an hour here for that. And so actually knowing that throughout the day, my time is planned so that I achieve the big stuff, and then fit in the other bits around it.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
stuff, I guess. But yeah, the time blocking has worked really well for me this last 2 weeks, that I've really honed in on it. And you know, the various training calls that we've done around goals and like the DMO stuff and everything else, it's all just coming together for me right now, where it's, you know, all these bits of training, it's all sort of going in and making sense now, and it's all pulling together, and the time blocking has just kind of brought it together, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And it massively helps, Louise. I think, yeah, definitely sharing that. It helps in the sense when someone messages you and says, oh, can you do XYZ? You can go, yeah, I can do it on Wednesday at 6 o'clock, because you know Wednesday at 6 o'clock is the time that you do that. So it just answers that question, doesn't it? Absolutely. So,
and you also then find that people can work a lot of stuff out themselves. If you don't jump straight away, what I've noticed, especially with as the team's grown, I've had to protect that time a lot more. If you don't jump straight away, then it gives your people the opportunity to work stuff out for themselves. If someone asks me to do something, whatever it is, Wednesday, and I say I can't do it till Friday, the chances are they'll work out how to do it themselves in the meantime, which then creates that independence in others as well. So
yeah,
it's really important.
And
I've noticed as well with the time blocking, where I have my accountability with the 11 o'clock lovelies every day, and I've given myself the excuse it's the Easter holidays, I don't build my business in the Easter holidays, so I won't be there. I'm not getting anything done at all, because I haven't got that accountability of other people being there telling me when I've got to do it. So I'm like, oh, I'll get it done later, I'll do an hour later, but it never happens.
And it's back to that, isn't it? Is it a grow activity? Is it something? I think that grow acronym is going to be one that's added to our little list of acronyms.
I really like it.
Definitely bringing that. Am I growing? Am I doing something that's making me grow? And it's I think especially for spring, it's quite a nice one for spring to bring it in there. So have we found that useful? Has anyone got any questions? Anything anyone wants to ask?
Any reflections on that?
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
Yeah,
that was so helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
No
problem. The reminder of the 888 is useful. I'm going to go back and do my 888 really strictly now, and just
It's thoroughly depressed me, because I've just realised it's like, I've just looked at my thing. It's like, 2 hours of school runs, 2 hours of cooking and eating and cleaning, and like, what the fuck?
I need to just get out some of that and think about, what am I doing for everybody else? That's the other thing it highlights as well. It does highlight how much time you give to others as opposed to what you're doing for yourself. And I think that's something that comes in as well, isn't it? It's like, shall I give myself time to personal care and things like that? It's just that, we don't very often, we give away our time very much, don't we?
So we can look at that list, can't we, and think, like, what of this can we delegate and stuff as well? So, you know, you can think, if you're mega busy, you could be like, oh, I'll do a load of batch cooking on one night or whatever, and then that'll save me an hour a day or something, or, you know, a couple of hours a week or something. You know, you can look at those little bits that you can make easier for you and where you can save time.
Yeah, definitely. Letting the kids eat Easter eggs for dinner saves loads of time.
And in the Easter holidays, I literally have no excuses. Oh, I don't build my business in the Easter holidays because I haven't got time. And then I've also admitted that I don't even cook for my child in the Easter holidays. So I literally don't know what I'm doing apart from drinking gin.
Sounds like a fun plan to me. Perfect. Well, you've had your half an hour. I'm glad that's been of use to you all.
Thank you, Sophie.
Waffle.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Thank you.
It was lovely to hear another waffling voice. Thank you, Sophie. Really helpful.
No worries.
Thank you.
See you later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.